Dirty Talks.
Oh, yes. We are rolling.
Alrighty. Hey, skaters. I'm Dirty Deborah Harry with...
Rollielocks, dirty spirited sidekick.
That's right. And you have tuned in to Dirty Talks podcast. This is based off our channel, The Dirty School of Skate.
Our channel?
Yes, honey. You do so much. I cannot do Dirty School of Skate if I don't have this woman filming and editing everything. You guys have seen my most viewed video. I have this one video that's been viewed multi-million times, right? And
the one on the tripod?
Yeah, literally me standing in front of a tripod and teaching you guys how to skate the absolute basics. Look it up. And it's me just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in front of a tripod. And I was literally just acting in front of the camera. And so obviously I need you as my director and someone to talk to. I know in my mind I'm supposed to be speaking through the camera. I learned that in stand-up comedy school. When you're in front of a camera, you're supposed to be like viewing it through the camera, talk to the people through the camera, and imagine all the people out there. So,
okay, well, I just have to digress. You do realize that example displays the fact that you do not need me.
Oh,
it has a million and something views, and it's behind a tripod.
Okay.
Therefore, I'm just
for my
fortunate
mental health doing this, I need to have someone behind the camera that I trust implicitly. Because sometimes I say stuff and she's like, edit. That needs to come out. And also, I need you every once in a while. You have reactions behind the camera, and I know I'm on the right track. So I'm like, okay, I know I'm doing something good.
I'm not going to argue. I do love it. I love this. Oh my gosh, do I love this.
And now we're back for our podcast. And when's the last time we did a podcast?
It's been a minute.
It's been more than a minute.
It's been a minute.
It's been
I think life has literally spun us a little in the last 6 months or so.
You know what? One thing I've learned lately, it is absolutely okay to have life get in the way. And in fact, life should get in the way. And we should stop pressuring ourselves to produce content. I feel like I've been doing this for a fair amount of time now, and I only want to produce content that is organic and done with a very
with your heart behind it. You're not just to do it.
And I also want to be grateful that I'm even here to be able to do this, that we have the time, that we have the energy, that we have something that we want to speak about, that we have the equipment, that we have the place, that we have the time. All of this is great. I do not want to come and speak to anybody on a podcast or film anything when my mind is like, oh my God, I'm so stressed and I don't want to be here. I don't want that kind of energy going through this mic and having other people who are like maybe at work or at home, and then they tune in and they want to get something out of it, and all they're getting out is, geez, that girl seems ragged and tired and like phoning it in. I'll tell you this, when I was in school, nothing bothered me more than, and I'm talking like I'm 11, 12 years old, when you go into a classroom and you could tell right from the beginning that teacher was phoning it in, like right from the beginning, like day one, and this person was just going through the motions. And teachers out there, you have the hardest job. The hardest job.
Do you know I was a teacher?
I know you were.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
loved it.
But you never phoned it in. But a difference, I think there's a difference now with teachers now. They're under so much more incredible pressure than they were back in the day. But back in the day,
I have such respect right now.
I had some teachers phoning it in. So I just don't want to phone anything in.
No.
I want to come to every one of these with like a good spirit. So we haven't done this in a super long time.
Yes.
But we had like at the beginning, we were like, we're going to do this and it's going to come out every Friday because we had goals and dreams.
I know.
And then
but, you know, I think a wise person once told me, you're either coming out of a problem, going into a problem, or in the middle of a problem.
So true.
And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what I've resigned to. And just like, you know, like you said, you can only juggle so much in life, and you just...
And it's okay. Your life outside of producing content. This is really a key thing for those of you out there who do produce content. My God, if you just pull back a little bit, it's okay. It's not going to all go away. But I'm really glad that you're talking about this thing about like you're either at the beginning of a problem, in a problem, out of a problem, whatever. Because Adria does not know this. I want to talk about a very particular thing. But before we talk about that, I want to give a shout out to Belle. Okay.
Yes.
She is
Belle Manning from Roller Rag.
Talk about a relentless producer of content. She is doing Roller Rag. Look, I'm just pulling this up because I'm on the cover. Okay. Listen, at this age, I'm just going to be like cover girl. Check it out. Okay. And then in this, I think this is the latest issue
volume.
There's me and Adria. Look at
Yes,
that. Look how cute. I'm sorry. Look how cute we are. That's
cute.
That is, we look good.
I know.
And can I give a shout out to helmet makers? S1, thank you very much.
Belle was really nice to let me.
The helmet looks cute.
Submit.
Wait,
that's the thing I like about it.
I like it.
You're all about
okay. What's cool about Roller Rag is that they cover all things roller skating. Mm-hmm. You can submit your own story. So if you have a particular story about you and your journey into roller skating, you can submit it. Roller Rag. Okay. And their Instagram is, let's see. Oh, you can go to rollerrag.com actually. Go there.
Yeah. Submit at rollerragmag@gmail.com if you want to submit. And that's the neat angle Belle is taking with this magazine. Is it, you know, there's a lot of amazing zines out there that feature shredders and really amazing skaters. And that's important because we want to celebrate athletes. This one, her magazine is a little different angle. It allows you to speak at whatever level you're at. Obviously, I'm like a plain bagel skater. I'm not any shredder or anything, but I have a story that I told.
You're
my short version of Dirty and how she was put into my life like in an amazing way to deal with battling leukemia. And I got to write about it and she published it. And I was so grateful because Belle encourages the fact that you might have a story to tell in roller skating that's yours and it might inspire someone else. So she is really taking an angle that I appreciate because, you know, you don't have to be like doing like 360s off the coping.
No. And we're talking like,
you know, waltz jumps.
You're looking at like in this one, getting all the terms right there. I appreciate that. You're talking ramp skating. And then the next thing is roller disco at the Providence rink. You know, there's just
any kind of skating.
Many different types of skating that is covered in here. And it's really cool. I also think that this is kind of a throwback, creating a zine. I love the fact that you're holding something that's not on a screen, that's in your hands. I just love it. And I think she is a tireless advocate for all things roller skating. And again, Roller Rag. It's not going to cost you a lot. I think it's like $40 for an entire year. Mm-hmm. So if anything, to support the community. But
now... Not to change the subject, but you kind of dangled a little bait out there saying, I haven't told. Dirty hasn't front-loaded me the topic today. And so, Dirty, what are we talking about?
Okay, so when you were saying, like, you're at the beginning of a problem, in a problem, et cetera,
yes.
What I have been hearing again, and this was something that I haven't heard since I was in roller derby. For those of you who don't know, I've been in roller skating my entire life. My parents were coaches, grandparents on both sides, whole family. My family opened up a roller rink in 1976. I've skated at various rinks. I was a freestyle skater, figure skater, speed skater. I did roller derby. I did park skating, dance skating, everything. Okay, except hockey, which I did.
I just love the way you say hockey.
I have to say that because I feel like it's so Canadian. You're like, you just got to do it. Scooch me over. There we go. So I've done all those things. And one thing that was really, really important when I was in roller derby, when I first got into it, it wasn't until I really started teaching and people would open up to me and talk to me that I realized this one thing. And this was throughout the roller derby community. Okay. Well, so we're talking like in the early 2000s, like 2005, 6, and it went on and on. That it was always like roller derby saved my life. Roller derby saved my life. What's interesting, I was at the rink just last night. I had 2 different people from wildly diverse backgrounds tell me roller skating saved my life. I got 2 different emails, and these emails are of like, I'm talking 5-paragraph essay emails recently of people describing how roller skating saved their life. And I was like so blown away by this that, number one, that people are even willing to share with me these kinds of stories, but that it is essentially in my lifetime happening again. So I started thinking about it, like, what's happening here? What's happening in the big scheme of things that roller skating is coming to represent this thing that people they deem is saving their life or saved their life, right? So I got to thinking about path. You're on a path in life, right? So in roller derby, I recognized pretty much within the first year that every single gal that came, or guy even, that came into roller derby was in a state of transition. They had either just broken up with someone, gotten divorced, started a new job, got fired. They started a new school, just graduated from school. They had some kind of heavy transition that they were going through. Or they were battling what they used to be and what they perceive themselves to be now. Their perception of what they perceive themselves to be now was negative. Okay, it was some kind of depression involved, right? So through the act of learning how to play roller derby and roller skate, I saw transitions with so many people, the way that they would change. And you would think, God, this is just from this crazy game where we are literally skating around bank track or flat jack and running into each other, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is it about this,
different.
right?
It's some kind of mental connection.
Yeah.
It's a therapy like no other, well, at least in my opinion.
Right. And so now I see people and they're coming at me the same way. They're like, oh my God, this has totally saved me. And I see it in the evolution of when they first start. So when they first come to class or they first come to the rink, and then I see what they evolve into. And it's so fun because I like to say, like, when I first start to teach them, in my mind, I always envision, like, how are they going to be in 6 months? What's it going to be like in a year? How soon will they not need me?
Wow,
in their
you
skating?
think about
Oh,
that.
God, yeah, because I'm like, honey, soon you're not going to even need me. You don't need me to tell you what to do because you're going to discover it within yourself. Mm-hmm. And once you get past the initial apprehension and self-doubt, you're going to start immersing yourself more in the community, and you will find other people to interact with. So it's so fun. Like, I was at Flippers. So Flippers, if you guys don't know, Flippers is an amazing rink. There's one in London, a full brick and mortar, amazing rink. If you are in the London area, you have to go to Flippers. And then there's also Rockefeller Center in New York City all summer long. Go. And then they've been having some big major pop-ups at the world famous Palladium in Los Angeles. And I saw some incredible skaters there. They just, I was working, I got to floor guard and all that jazz and skating. And I'm talking to skaters who I literally taught to skate when they were at Fountain Valley, and they would come in the middle of the rink and they were really struggling. But I was like, ooh, this one's going to be good.
Wow.
Like soon they won't need me. And for me to see them at a big event like that And then me look at them and them look at me and we're like, oh my God, how you doing? And we hug and stuff. And then I look and I watch them skate. And I'm like, oh my God, look what they've been able to accomplish within skating. And I tell you, it goes hand in hand with their personal growth. I'm not seeing a timid person. I'm not seeing a person who's in obvious pain. I'm not seeing a person who's desperate for connection. I'm seeing a much more realistic version of that person's self. And it's so fun because it's not about me. I am like the gateway drug.
You are the gateway
I'm the gateway drug. I will bring you into this cult and then turn you out. And then you're off on your own doing amazing stuff. And then I get the absolute pleasure to look. Oh, sometimes from afar, I'm watching you and you don't even know. And I'm looking at you like, oh, I knew you when you were a baby skater. And look how amazing you are now.
So basically what you're saying is roller skating is therapy.
I believe
it's therapy.
I think it's self-guided therapy.
Yeah, it really is.
And I've always said that roller skating is the discovery of self through movement of the body. So many times, and I can say this, I'm sorry. I can say this personally. Like when I got into roller derby, trust and believe I was looking for something.
Yeah.
I had already done like all the classes that you get at the recreational center. Do you ever get those books where they're like, here's what's coming out
your
in the
city
summertime.
guide.
And you're like, I guess I'm going to go belly dancing. I guess it's time to make a mosaic table. I guess I'm going to do water aerobics.
Some succulent plant making.
There was a stage in my life, and this was also coinciding with me having some of the worst jobs of my life. Like, have you ever had such a bad job? Okay.
I was the drive-through teller at Burger King, and we had to count back money in those days.
Oh, yeah. That was fun, though.
That made me stressed out because I'm not super good at math.
I will do a whole video on how to count back money, kids.
Yeah, I got good at it.
Super fun. But here's the deal. When I had bad jobs, realistically, it wasn't the job that was bad. I was on the wrong path. And the job was bad because it was literally the universe being like, girl, your job is bad. It's not really bad, though. It's you. You don't belong in this position. Get out of it so someone else can get in that position that's better suited for them. This isn't suited for you. So I had this thing. I was selling real estate and I was making,
I love the
Dude,
thought
I was
of
making
selling
a lot of
real
money.
estate. We've talked about this before.
You know, I could sell you a house, right? So I was making a ton of money. But at one point, I had a business card and I just looked at it. I was in the middle of some meeting, and God, I hate meetings. So I'm looking at this card and I just thought to myself, man, I used to be so cool. What the hell happened to me? Like, I'm going to find the card.
What color was your blazer?
Navy blue.
Navy blue blazer, walking people through houses.
I was wearing proper business attire, you know. And I was like, I used to be so cool. What the hell happened? And then,
I believe you were still cool.
Wait, this happened in like 3 different jobs, okay? Where I just was done. Like the light went on and I was like, I'm done with this. I have to transition into something else, okay? So I would transition. I'd say, I've got to get out of here literally to save my soul. What's the next thing? So this is what was happening, you guys. I hope this makes sense. I would stay in jobs for a long time, but I was transitioning from job to job. And I was like, dude, just something about that. I got to get out. This isn't my path. But at some point I recognized I could have this job because Lord knows you need your job. You got to pay bills on some level. That's just realistic, right? And then I was like, I have to find something outside of my job to help me figure out who I am, actually who I used to be, and the modern version of that, right? So I was in selling real estate and I found out about roller derby, got into roller derby, So trust and believe. I was in a transitional state in roller derby too. It's just that I knew how to skate. So the gals that were skating with me, they didn't. And so I had the fortunate position to observe as I taught them to skate and how they worked on their own and learned from other people, how they started to really transform and blossom.
You're a skate therapist.
I'm completely unlicensed, untrained. I'm just telling you, just going off the hip here. But
that makes sense because, see, for me, when I entered the main part of my skating, which was transition skating,
skate
park, fear was a component of it, and that fear and addressing the fear translated to real life for me. Having fear with dealing with cancer. So you were like my therapist on wheels, but the words you would say to me on wheels, I'm getting emotional.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, they literally were the same words that I would say when I had to, roll into chemotherapy or deal with the thought of dying or whatever, But you, because you had already the foundation of skating, you came into it you were birthed into it. So you looked at it from a different perspective. You didn't look at it the way most of us do. We come in and we're like, this is scary. There's a fear element. But yet when you make those little tiny accomplishments, you feel so good that you conquered that fear or that doubt or whatever. Yeah. You were an observer.
Yeah.
And you observed it in your student or as a derby coach in your
I
peers.
literally have taught thousands of people. So I started recognizing, oh my God, this skating thing as an adult, putting yourself in a physical situation where you're uncomfortable, you're scared, and then you're given a task to accomplish and you do it and you feel, I see the looks on people's faces and I was like, oh my God, this is way bigger than I thought. So for you, dealing with cancer and dealing with this overwhelming idea of, my God, I may lose everything, including myself, having something outside of that doesn't define you as, when people get sick, and I know this from other people, it becomes your identity to other people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a person who's dealing with cancer. That's all they're about.
Yeah.
And if any of you out there know, when you tell someone you roller skate, for some reason, people think this is really cool. They're like if you say,
distracted.
I skate at skate parks, and they're just looking at you, trying to figure out how that works, but they're excited by it, right? On some level, they're really excited about it.
You're right. It did provide that too, a kind of an escape from reality.
Well, and also,
way.
I want to even say,
things.
you know what? I don't even like the word escape even.
Yeah,
I want to say it's a constant redefinition of who you are. It's like you're going into the skate parks and you're like, yes, I'm dealing with cancer and I'm dealing with, and insert people out there, insert whatever you're dealing with, right? And then when you're over here, you're like, this part of my life deserves attention. It deserves effort. It deserves me being scared about it and trying to do better at it. Because ultimately, the benefit of it, I would see people who were like, okay, in skate park, it's like the minute you figure out how to drop in, you are like, I can conquer the world. Mm-hmm. You can go to work and be like, oh, no. I'm taking time off. Okay. You are no longer asking. You are telling. When you could drop in, you are just on a different level. So for roller skating, like rink skating, like the second you can turn around and skate backwards, you're like, okay.
What's up?
I am now very powerful person. Watch out. I'm the best I've ever been. Mm-hmm. It's in all forms of skating.
Yeah. And I think attached to that, like, because your roller skating is mental because you have to work through not doing well for a period of time or working through the skill. But then one of the things that you always told me was to trust what I already knew.
Yeah.
So whether you're learning to backward skate or whatever, there's something you're doing that you're doing well, and to build on that.
Right.
And that was something I didn't understand until I started roller skating, and you were starting to really like talk me through trusting my body and what it can do. Trust it. Why are you doubting it? What's that fear? That's artificial. You've done this 1,000 times. Why are you worried about it? Well, that translated into, for me, my health stuff, going, well, I can do things that I know are good for my body that could help it along. And I should feel good doing the things that I already know are good.
Yeah.
Right. And so in real life, or not that roller skating isn't real life, but I mean,
it feels like it's not real life, right? It's so great.
It translated for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I talked to a guy last night, and God love him, he's probably going to listen to this, but I won't say his name, but he had a profound impact on me last night. He told me, I skated up to him and I said, "Hey dude, how's it going?" Like, I'm always trying to like do the, get you into the party mode. And he said, "Oh, no, I'm not doing good tonight. I'm not doing good tonight." I said, "Hey, that's all right. It's all right. You're just not feeling it." And he's like, "No, I'm not feeling it." And I could tell something was heavy weighing on his mind, right? So then he said that he had a rough week, and then in reality, it was more like a rough year or a couple of years. He had experienced a lot of death in his life, and he thought he was just in his head. And I remember thinking, "Oh, dude, I'm so glad you're here." So then those words came out of my mouth. I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here tonight. Dude, I'm proud of you for coming here tonight." Because I truly believe that ever since lockdown, people are even more in tune to, I don't feel good, I'm going to stay home. And I told him that the rink and really skating anywhere is a magical place, because you can have all of these negative thoughts in your mind or your head. And when you stay at home, you're actually, I believe, actively infecting your living space with this kind of negative energy where you're not feeling good and you're hurting and you're not. But when you go to the rink, even if you feel negative, even if you feel bad, it's a bigger space to fill. And as you're skating and as you're working things out, that negative energy is going out into the ether and being consumed by the good energy that's going on in the place. Is that too much energy talk? But I completely believe this. And I told him, if you're too in your head, focus on breathing. If you're too in your head, focus on counting. If it's just
breathing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
counting.
7, and 8. And look, if that doesn't work, just keep rolling. Just keep rolling, because it may not help you. You may not see the benefit at that moment, but then you look a couple of days, weeks, months, years down the road, and you're all, thank God I went outside. Thank God I went to the rink. Thank God I did that form of physical movement, because it changes the chemistry in your brain.
Yeah, there is actual
right?
chemical science going on up there too, right?
Yes. Well, there's this
I'm like, because I have never, I shouldn't say never, because maybe there was, but I can't recall a time when I was having a bad day. And trust me, I've had my fill, where I put my wheels on my feet anyway and rolled, and within that half-hour period, something clicks over.
Yep.
And obviously rolling and moving, but there is the endorphin,
Now, people could say this about a lot of sports. People,
of course,
people can go like, "Oh, but I walk and I run and all this stuff." But here's the difference I truly believe. Okay, you guys know Slow-Mo. He's in San Diego. He's like a doctor. Remember, this guy's retired. Do you know who Slow-Mo is?
Only because of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's not only.
I think he was like a neurosurgeon or something insane, right? So he goes out onto the boardwalks and he skates in this slow motion style. And his idea, and I knew this before I even read about it, is that skating is the closest we can get to flying. Okay?
Oh.
And as we're moving, energy in our body is moving with it, and it starts doing that thing, and it starts feeling so good. And God, when you're at the skate park too, and you're dropping in, you're getting, and you're doing all this, you're at the rink.
Did you read it?
Did I read about
my
him?
story?
Yes, of course I read your story.
I mean, the whole thing is about the wheels made like
you're a little birdie.
Yeah, and I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never thought that wheels make you feel like you're flying, and it makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
I mean, it's not like
I was
flying
for those of you just listening, I held up roller rag. And, yeah. No, well, obviously. but I mean, like, that just hit me. Like, okay. In this summer, I'm getting a tattoo, and it's a bird on roller skates.
Nice.
Don't copy me, okay? No, I got this great
No,
tattoo
don't copy
artist.
her. Just get a tattoo of Adria's face on you.
No, I'm kidding. I don't care. Do it. But yeah, bird
free
on
roller rag
skates
for you if you do that. I'm just giving away. We'll give you free merch if you get a tattoo.
If you get my face, not my face, Dirty's face.
Sure, why not? Get a dirty face tattooed on you. But
anyway, it's the idea of flying.
The idea. So when I'm seeing this man last night, and he was obviously suffering. Like, I saw the look on his face, and I could tell that he was suffering, right? But I'm like, just going through the motions of coming down and putting on your skates and skating, I know will have a radical benefit. So then I was talking to this other guy, and he starts off the conversation like so many of you do, and I appreciate it every single time. It never gets old, which is, oh my God, I watch all your videos. You're the reason why I skate. You inspired me to skate on some level. And I'm like, my work has value. Thank you very much. That's what I take away from it. My work has value, and I'm super stoked about it. And this guy basically told me that this saved his life. Like, he was at a very extreme of negativity. He found the videos, he started skating, and realized that there is something else to life. Now, I completely 500% believe that if you do not feel good in any way, movement of the body will change that. Skating just happens to double down and be like, not only is a movement of the body, but it's social in a way that you can be social if you want, or you can not. Like, you can be in the company of others having a good time, and you could tune out and be your own self, like, which is the first gentleman I was talking to. He was just doing his own thing within a crowd of supportive people doing the same thing. And then other people go to skating really looking for connection, right? So at the beginning, I was talking about your path. And this is what ultimately I really want this to be about. There are many different forms of skating within the roller derby community, and people can comment on this because you know. When you come to roller derby and you start, and this might be in recreational skating a bit too, you're sort of like you're a freshman in high school. You come and you're like, oh my God, I'm excited, but I'm also really nervous, and I'm riddled with self-doubt. And then as you kind of go into your sophomore year, you're like, well, at least I ain't a freshman. Okay, that's where you're at right there. Juniors, you're like, okay, I got 2 levels to rule over. And seniors, you're like, we rule the school, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully not. Trigger warning, high school talk, right? So what I think happens in skating is that same levels of development happen. And for some people, it's slower. And then some people, it's more advanced. And that can be in the physicality of actual skating, but also in your development as a person, as you start recognizing that you're getting stronger mentally, emotionally, and physically, that you came to this sport with some issues, and you're starting to realize that they're kind of resolving themselves on their own, but you don't realize it. Exactly. It's the connection with the physical movement that is opening up the brain, letting the BS go. You're starting to see things clearly, right?
Yes, 100%. I had no idea that roller skating was helping heal my leukemia. I had no idea until after, you know. And you look back and you're like, oh, I see it all now. Like, I see the mental development and the...
And we're not saying roller skating is a cure.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
No, disclaimer.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. Like when you're in it and you don't know. And that's where therapist dirties on the outskirts watching you going, oh, I know what's happening. I know what this person is doing.
You guys, I really believe it's the physical movement that allows your brain to change and then may allow your emotions to calm themselves and then allow whatever obvious medicine that's going on in that case, fully 100% do its job. Right. You know what I mean? Like we're all mentally, physically, and emotionally. I have never had a sport that I've done. I don't even want to call roller skating a sport. It's really part art, part science.
Yeah.
Okay. Because of the absolute need for self-expression. You got to look good doing it in your own way. And you're constantly expressing yourself within skating, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that that's what differentiates it from some other activities. And I think that that is the ultimate benefit of it. So when I think about pathways in skating, so when I met you, you were skating with the older people at the older people session.
Yes, I was.
And I was like, look at this.
I'm embarrassed.
Look at this young beauty.
I didn't belong.
I just skated right over there and I said, you need to go to the skate park. Girl, you are a skate park skater.
I told you my story.
Yeah.
And that I was angry and just pent up. And I told her I had signed up for derby, but then the bruising, like with leukemia, you get bruises easy. And it wasn't that it was bad, but seeing bruises would bother me. So I was like, I quit. I didn't do it, but I feel aggressive. I am just so pissed off. And I'm just trapped in this aggro. And then you said,
sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at you saying that, but you just look so cute when you were mad because you never get mad.
Pissed off.
She was like, oh, look at me.
Yeah. And that's when you said,
oh, you need to go to skate park.
Yeah. And you said, you're like, yeah, there's aggro involved and fear, but you'll bruise on your own terms. Like if you want to take a chance, you will.
So
if
this
you don't,
is like
you won't.
a pathway. And this pathway allows you to feel a certain way about your skating and allows you to deal with certain things in your life on your own terms, right? That's the skate park path you took, right?
Right. There's many paths. Right.
So many people they start out and they're like, I ain't got no path. I've never roller skated in my life. Some people are like, I've only roller skated in the rink. I'm a rink skater. Some people are, I've only been an artistic skater. I'm classically trained. This is what I do. Some people are like, I only want to go fast. This is, or I dance skate and I only dance skate to this particular kind of music. And if it's anything else, I don't want to do it. Your path may change. Your need to go down a different road may change as you evolve as a person. Okay? As you evolve, as you grow older. No, as you grow older, right?
How long can I be in the park?
Things may change. You may have different needs for skating. So one thing I really want to impress upon the roller skating community at large is please take the time, if you can, to have a greater understanding of the different genres and disciplines of skating and just see them as different from your own, but not something that you would never do and not something that you view as negative. See it as, wow, that's a different expression in skating, because you guys, sometimes when I've worked with someone at the beginning and then I see them grow and change and they become like an absolute killer, like dance skater. And I'm like, oh my God, look at them. They're just killing it in the middle. And then I start to linger around on the edges and I'm like, hey, you want to try this? You want to try that? And it's straight up hardcore artistic figure skating moves. And then I get them to do something that I know is really difficult in artistic skating. And then they do it and they look super graceful and they look beautiful. And then you see the look on their face and they're like, oh my God, I was able to do that. And I'm like, it's a whole new world. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many, but if I straight up said to them, okay, come to artistic skating practice where you're going to skate to classical music and you're going to wear this particular outfit and you're going to do this thing, they'd be like, nah, that's not what I do. Okay. So you sometimes.
I know you're speaking directly to me, Dirty. I know it.
No,
I'm always like, no, I'm not artistic skating. I am so, I was a ballerina when I was young,
right?
And so
what's funny
like,
about you in particular?
But
I know
I'm opening up.
that we could.
I did an arabesque the other day.
Right. I know that we could sift through the BS of your upbringing in ballet and the quasi trauma.
We damaged.
We could exercise all that through, and exercise like as in the exorcist through artistic skating.
Okay.
But I have seen when you see young men and they're dance skating and they're getting all kind of like aggro and or like really, really smooth or really cool. And then I'm like, dude, try this. And they'll try full on artistic skating moves and they're amazing. Yeah. And I'm like, this can be incorporated. Mm-hmm. This could be totally incorporated, right? Sometimes we'll have speed skate. And a speed skate number during session, right? Mm-hmm. And you get a lot of dance skaters out there who are like, speed skate? I don't want to speed skate. I'm going to give it a try. And you get out there and you're like, oh my God, they realize how actually good they could be at that discipline.
Yeah.
When I've approached people about playing derby, they have an idea of what derby's like. And then they're like, yeah, that's not me. And I was like, ooh, it could be you. You may not know enough about it. And here's the deal. Before you decide that skating isn't for you anymore, let's say you've gone through your freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, and for some reason skating is not feeding you in the way it once did, and you're like, I don't know. The first thing you're going to start thinking is, it's the people I skate with's fault. It's the place I skate with. It's the music. It's the other people. You start looking for exterior reasons for why skating's not feeding you anymore. Mm-hmm. And you think it's always something external.
Blame.
When in reality, it's because you need to get on a different path. Luckily for you, in roller skating, there's so many different paths. Mm-hmm. And you know what? People always ask me, like, you've been doing this for a really long time. Do you get bored? And it was funny because I went to the rink last night. No one knew this at the rink last night. I was totally looking for a partner last night. Like, I was looking around like, who wants to skate with me? Because I had this idea that I wanted to do footwork, but I wanted to do it in unison with someone, then holding hands with someone. And I was literally on the hunt. But I was on the hunt for someone who's never done it before, so I can get the secondary high
of watching them.
Yeah, like them them discovering that style of skating and being like, oh my God, this is super fun, right?
Your skate therapist is always trying to find someone to put on your couch.
But it's for my benefit too, because I was like, for me to be excited about skating, like, I want to do different things too, right?
So I mean, we all benefit from your desire to get a high watching us get better. It's a win-win.
So I'm like looking around going like, hey, maybe that person, they don't know it, wants to skate with me. And then we're going to do 3-turn, mohawk turn, spin, down, kick. I got this in my mind. I've got all these things I want to do.
Did it work out?
Yeah. Briefly, I had a couple of different people, and then I felt like, always at the rink. So if you see me at the rink, there's a couple of different things. I'm working too. Like, I'm watching the door. I'm watching for people who are falling, and I'm skating on my own and with other people. But I'm always kind of like. But my main point is, if you you're experiencing all these benefits of skating, right? And if it gets to a point where you're like, you start hearing yourself complaining about the place you skate, complaining about the people you skate with, complaining about the community at large, being negative online about it, getting too deep into the politics of it, getting too deep into the drama of it, It's probably not that. It could very well be that you've come to the end of that path. Mm-hmm. You don't have to put your skates away. You need to get on a different path. And sometimes the other path allows you to move your body in a different manner, which triggers the brain. I like how we both went.
Mm-hmm. I studied that in my master's, that, we make new pathways in our brain almost our whole lives. And that makes sense.
That's good.
You're developing your dendrites. I don't know. There's probably some science teacher out there that said I said that wrong, but you know what I'm saying. We make new pathways in the brain, and maybe it's time for new pathways to be established.
Yes. So if you get to that point where you're like, even if you have a friend, like if you got that friend in skating, you're like, they are definitely bitching, and they're definitely complaining, and they're definitely...
Are you telling me?
No, I am not. You...
I'm so nervous.
Never.
Well, I have definitely shut you down with...
No.
I don't want to figure skate. Dirty.
Roller derby people, you know. We all went through this in roller derby, because the difference between roller derby and any other form of skating is that not only are you physically... but you're physically running and hitting people on purpose with the goal of making them fall down. Okay. So what happens in roller derby is it is like a super intense time of your skating life. Whereas if you're skating at the skate park, if you're recreational skating, if you're artistic skating, etc., it's a much longer process. It's a different kind of process. In roller derby, it's so intensified because you're actually coming into physical contact with other people. So, forgot what I was talking about. But
well, I interrupted.
It's not you. It's not you, honey. I'm not even, Jesus, you're the greatest. I'm telling you.
Enough.
No.
But you're talking about different paths. Everybody takes different paths. And when you burn your path out, maybe
and
change lanes.
Know that that's not a negative thing.
Yeah.
It's literally like you've graduated. You've graduated. You're a senior. You can't keep going back. You can't keep going back. If you don't want to change genres in skating, that's fine. Find aspects of another genre of skating, moving your body differently, and incorporate that into your favorite genre. Now, I'm not saying learn how to play roller derby and then do that on a skate park or in the middle of dance class.
I got it. Well, actually, that's starting to happen to me on the ramp. I've kind of leveled off as far as skills go. I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to do a full cab. That's like when you do 360 and then you land on the edge of the ramp. But I started incorporating like my ballet, like my moving. And I'm like, I've given up thinking, I'm a big fat goober. That's it. And I'm just going to play with this. So interesting.
You're amazing.
Like, that's kind of neat that you're saying that. I didn't, maybe I was getting even burnt out a little or whatever. And it just kind of organically started
and you know what's going to happen?
I'm like,
if you focus on the artistic part of your skate park skating, you're going to get that trick you're working on.
Well, if I have Dirty for a coach.
Listen, if I just stand there and I'm just
50, I'm almost 52.
Coaching. Here's me coaching. Do it again. Okay, I'm going to need you to do it again.
She says do it again, but she sees stuff that
minor stuff. I like to focus on the details. Okay. Well, minor stuff. They like these tiny little details that make things happen.
Massive.
But it's going to circle back. You're going to be like, oh my God, because I'm focusing on the things that I know that I can do and I'm expressing myself better, that trick that you want to do may become more accessible to you because your mind, your body, your emotions, these things are open to it. Okay. So my biggest, I know this is kind of long-winded and like we're into it, but
that's where it's all at.
I'm always like begging skaters, I don't want to see you go away because you have gotten frustrated. Your frustration just means that you are finished, somewhat come to the end of this path. This doesn't mean the end means I've gotten as good as I can get. That doesn't mean that. It just means that it has filled that emotional or mental part that you were working on, and now you need to level up. Your level up is going to look different than everyone else's. So I want you to be open to the different styles of skating and just test the waters. You have no idea. I have seen people from full-blown recreational skating become high-level artistic skaters. I've seen high-level artistic skaters become roller derby players. I've seen roller derby players become amazing creative dance skaters. I've seen them become speed skaters. I mean, the crossovers are amazing. And I never want anyone in skating to miss out on that opportunity, because you said, I came into skating to be this, and that's where my story in skating ends. It doesn't have to end like that.
We all need to listen to the dirty therapist. Look, you've seen enough. I've seen just it been happen, around more. And that's a testament that it's actually
I'm super grateful.
Valuable advice.
I'm super grateful to have taught so many people, because it just gives me access to seeing how transformative this sport can be.
So dirty.
Yes.
What lane are you changing lanes?
I always feel like I am at the forefront of discovering something new.
And
right?
You're not telling us? Or?
No, it's like, oh my God, you guys.
New skate?
My poor cousin at the rink, I'm always like, hey, I got a new idea. You know what we should do? We should have people skating like this. Why don't we try that? And I have definitely spearheaded some crazy stuff where I've done classes for people that you would think, I'm going to take these style of skaters. It's my favorite thing to do. I want to take this style of skater and put them in this situation. See what happens. It's like super experimental. Right?
So the therapist is always experimenting with
experiencing.
us.
You guys are my lab rats. But,
we are.
But okay. And also my skating goes seasonal. Like it's Southern California.
Yeah.
Dude, it's time to go outside. So just Sunday, I was like, I got a brand new pair of outdoor skates. I was trying them out, and I'm all, it's time to get back to hill bombing. But hill bombing for me is like, how graceful can I make this hill bombing be?
Everything you do is graceful.
No, I'm trying to make it look pretty, right? Because I'm also trying not to die out there. Okay, there's that. But I'm always trying to think up new things and then get people involved in those new things. Like,
whatever you're doing, you want to bring us all along.
Seriously, I'm like, I feel like I am the first person through that door, and then I hold it open and let you all in for free.
I love
it's
that
like
part.
Sneaking into a concert. I'm like, I'll go for the door, man. As soon as I open it up, everyone run.
Come on.
But I am, for my own personal skating, it is the goals for my own personal skating are always continuing to evolve. But I think the thing that I'm really, really focused on right now is not like a different genre of skating, but making sure that the skating I do now is going to be super helpful for me physically and emotionally 20 years from now. I do not want to do things like, God love you, people skating off like a roof of a house and then landing. And I'm like, knees, lower back. Oh my God. Okay, yay. So my daredevil days might be, in the past. But I'm essentially, working on smoothness. I always want to look smooth, and always want to feel as positive as possible about my skating and yours. And can I just add one last thing?
Yeah, you can add as much as you want. This is Dirty Talks.
There's a thing that I used to do when I would teach groups of people. If I see a group of people And I can see the fear and the self-doubt on many people's faces. You teach enough people, you look at a group, and you also get an idea of what the group mentality is. There's always energy flowing through all these different people, so you can see group mentality. You're like, this group, sometimes the group is like ready to go, and you're like, oh, wow, this is different. The vast majority of the time, the group mentality is they're nervous, they're anxious, they've got self-doubt. Completely normal. So there's this thing called power posing, and it sounds goofy, but it works. Okay, so all you have to do, and you can look it up, all you have to do is stand up straight, okay? And you're going to see my body. You're going to stand with your arms out as powerful as possible. Clench your fist and make it big. And you stand with your legs so you're like a giant X, okay? And you can do this, out in the wild, or you can do it in front of a mirror. Like if you're going into a life situation that you're nervous about and you have self-doubt and you're anxious, you're like, I'm in the bathroom in front of the mirror and I'm going to power pose. Now it's super important that you power pose for 2 minutes. And you're going to think that's crazy. You hold this position like this and you keep your chin up. And you know how I'm always saying chin up, shoulders straight across, snacks tight, and you put your arms up, okay? I'm not saying those things just because I want you to look a certain way. I know that changes your mentality. So let's say you're going to the rink, you're going to skate with a group, and you're really, really nervous. You've got to do this power posing right before you go. And you just stand up there with that 2 minutes. You're raising your arms. You got your legs spread, so you're in that giant
Am
X.
I doing this in front of people?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I mean, you know what? People are so weird these days that no one would even, as long as you're not doing, do a TikTok dance. I don't care. You can do everything out in public, apparently now, like everything. So you're just holding this pose. But in your pose, you're just holding it. You can shut your eyes. You can keep them wide open and maniacally stare at other people. Be aware of your surroundings, kids. It's dangerous out there. So you just hold that, and it actually changes the chemistry in your brain to a more powerful position so that the next thing you get into, you are less anxious, you have less self-doubt, and you are less negative. Trust me, from personal experience, this absolutely works.
I'm so trying it.
I want to see your power poses. You guys, put this on my Instagram if you want. You could tag me. I'm at Dirty Deborah Harry or at Rollielocks.
Can I do it with my roller skates on?
Heck no, I want you to do it with your skates on.
Okay.
Because here's the deal with skates on. I talk about feeling the floor. Okay, you have skates on, so you're like, how can I feel the floor? You can feel the floor. If you channel your energy enough, you've got your feet flat within your skates, you can literally feel the floor. So you feel the floor, you got your arms up, and you're like, for 2 minutes, I'm going to do my power pose, and in my mind, you can chant whatever you want. You can do very simple chants that help you empower yourself. Because every single time we go out to skate, we're not only trying to prove something to ourselves, but oftentimes, we're with...
I keep track of you.
Sure. We're with other people, and we're like, I ain't going to lie. You're like, I want to impress these other people. I want to impress people I don't even know. That is a common human trait. So don't go in there all raw, like you just got off of work, and you're like, well, there was another day. and you roll into the rink or your favorite skate spot, and you're like, geez, let me just bring all the baggage and the bad negativity. You could just spend a moment and be like, excuse me, friends, yeah, I'm coming, but I'm power posing.
2 minutes.
2 minutes of power pose.
I'm doing it.
They say that your mind, your thoughts affect your body. Your body affects your thoughts.
Isn't that what we started this whole podcast talking about?
I'm telling you.
It's all...
If you're negative, it's going to affect how you skate. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, when we're in these transitionary states in life, we're coming at this skating thing with hopefully, for some reason, you're drawn to it too. Let's just say that. On some level, you don't know why you're roller skating. You're like, was I just heavily influenced by TikTok to roller skate or whatever?
I think we all just have little rolly spirits.
There's something in there.
We're all related to each other.
Yeah, because there's some people who don't choose to roller skate, but those of us who do and get the idea and then make the time and go buy the equipment and actually show up, amazing. So for those of you who show up, you don't know why you're there, you want to be a good skater and you don't even know why. I do.
Dirty therapist knows.
No, I am not a therapist.
Yes, you are. Stop it.
I have a history degree from UCLA, okay? And I used to have a real estate license. Apparently that makes you a therapist.
I think you are.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Take it or leave it.
I mean, it's just, I think, experience. And I've seen this. And, you know, as I go through this phase of my life, all I want for you guys is to have an experience in skating that is a journey. It can take however long you want it to be. You can do it forever. Maybe you only need to be here for a short time. But if it becomes negative for you, just change your path, okay? Mm-hmm. It's not you. It's not the other people. It's just the path. You got to change paths, okay?
Thank you, Dirty.
You're what? Thank you.
That was really good advice.
You guys, thank you. I really appreciate
power posing.
It. Yeah, let's all power pose. Mm-hmm. Hashtag power pose. Let's do it, you guys. Okay, I cannot wait to come back and do this again.
I love you, Dirty.
I love you. You're the best. And I love all you. You know what? We got a little thing from Spotify and it was like, you had X amount of listens. And I was like, oh my God. And it's funny because it's different than YouTube, right?
Yeah.
It's like the numbers are different, but I think it's really important because there's a different type of listener and watcher and skater that's doing the podcast thing, who's willing to spend this much time. So for you out there, if you are watching this and you're still here with us, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And I can't wait to do more. Please put in the comments anything you like. Anything you want us to talk about would be fantastic. Alrighty, you guys?
We love you, Dirty Rollers.
Yeah, that's good. All right, go practice. We'll talk to you later. Bye.